You're going to die from something. That may sound harsh, but after 72 years as a heart surgeon, I can tell you something most doctors never say out loud. Most people die from the same few mistakes, made slowly, quietly, every single day. My name is Dr. Samuel Rhodes. I am 101 years old. I have performed over 18,000 heart surgeries. I have held beating hearts in my hands. I have watched patients survive against impossible odds. And I have watched others die who should have lived another 20 years. And here's the truth nobody prepares you for. Their fate was usually decided long before they entered my operating room. Let me tell you why I know this. The moment that changed everything. In 1963, my first patient died on the table. He was 49 years old, a successful businessman, 2 young children waiting outside. When I spoke to his wife, she asked me a question I still hear in my dreams. Was there anything we could have done sooner? At the time, I didn't know how to answer. Now, after a lifetime of research, I do. Yes, there was everything they could have done sooner. That's why I'm telling you the 7 habits that separate people who age well from those who don't live long enough to try. Listen carefully. Habit number 1, your heart hates sitting still. After decades in operating rooms, I can tell you something that surprises most people. The heart does not fail suddenly. It fails slowly, from disuse. I've opened chests of marathon runners and office workers alike, and the difference wasn't athletic talent. It was daily movement. Your heart was not designed for 1 hour of exercise and 23 hours of stillness. It was designed for constant, gentle motion, walking, lifting, bending, standing, carrying. When that motion disappears, the heart adapts in the worst possible way. It weakens, blood vessels stiffen, inflammation rises, clots form more easily. This is how heart disease quietly begins. Many of my patients told me the same thing before surgery. Doctor, I don't understand. I go to the gym twice a week. But then I would ask how many hours they sat each day. Silence. Sitting for long periods slows blood flow, especially in the legs. That stagnation forces the heart to pump harder while receiving less support from the muscles that normally help move blood upward. Over time, this strain damages the heart muscle itself. No treadmill session can undo 10 hours in a chair. The healthiest hearts I saw belonged to people who barely thought about exercise. They walked after meals. They stood while working. They took stairs without negotiating with themselves. They moved because movement was part of their life, not something scheduled. If you remember only one thing, remember this. Your heart needs movement the way lungs need air. Stand up every hour. Walk for 10 minutes after eating. Move your body in small, frequent ways throughout the day. Not tomorrow, not next week, today, because the heart you are training right now is the one you will depend on later. Habit number 2, your plate predicts your future. After enough years in medicine, patterns become impossible to ignore. Before I read lab results, before imaging, sometimes before a patient spoke a single word, I could often tell how they ate by the condition of their heart. The arteries of people who ate mostly plants were flexible, open, and resilient, even in old age. The arteries of people who centered every meal around meat and processed food were thickened, inflamed, and fragile, decades before they should have been. Food is not neutral. Every meal is a biological instruction. It tells your body whether to repair or inflame, whether to protect or damage. Plants, vegetables, beans, whole grains, fruit deliver fiber, antioxidants, and compounds that calm the inner lining of your blood vessels. They reduce cholesterol, lower blood pressure, and stabilize blood sugar without forcing your heart to work overtime. Highly processed foods do the opposite. They spike glucose, thicken blood, and promote inflammation that slowly scars the arteries from the inside out. This damage doesn't cause pain. It doesn't announce itself. It accumulates silently until one day it becomes a diagnosis. Many patients believed they were eating normally. They ate what everyone around them ate. But normal in modern society is not healthy. It is common. The longest-lived patients I treated did not follow extreme diets. They followed simple patterns. Plants were the foundation. Animal foods were occasional, not automatic. Meals were real food, not packages. You do not need perfection. You need direction. If your plate is mostly plants today, your future heart will be stronger than if it isn't. That is not philosophy. That is physiology. Choose accordingly. Your arteries are listening. Habit number 3, the most dangerous bites, are the last ones in the operating room. Excess is easy to see. Organs swollen, fat where it doesn't belong, hearts forced to work harder than they were ever designed to. What surprised many of my patients was this: they were not overeating because they were hungry. They were overeating because they didn't know when to stop. Your body gives clear signals when it has had enough, but modern life teaches you to ignore them, to finish the plate, to eat because it's there, to keep going until you feel heavy and uncomfortable. By the time you feel full, you're already past what your body needs. Every extra bite forces your heart to pump against higher pressure. Blood thickens, inflammation rises, insulin surges. None of this happens dramatically. It happens quietly, meal after meal, year after year. I treated patients who exercised, avoided sugar, even ate vegetables, but still strained their hearts by eating too much, too often. Their bodies never entered repair mode. They stayed in constant growth and storage mode, which accelerates aging at the cellular level. The healthiest long-lived patients shared one habit. They stopped eating while they still felt comfortable. Meals ended with ease, not discomfort. Hunger returned gently, not violently. You don't need calorie charts or rules. You need awareness. Eat slowly. Pause midway. Stop when you could eat more. But don't. Because the moment you stop just short of full is the moment your body begins to heal. Messages beyond this point are only visible to you. Habit number 4, sugar ages you faster than time. If there is one substance I learned to fear more than fat, more than salt, more than cholesterol, it is sugar. Not because it kills quickly, but because it destroys silently. I treated patients who looked healthy on the outside, normal weight, active, no obvious illness. Yet when we examined their arteries, they were already stiff, inflamed, and fragile, like rubber left too long in the sun. Excess sugar floods the bloodstream and forces the body into emergency mode. Insulin surges, blood thickens, inflammation spreads through the inner lining of your vessels. Over time, sugar damages the delicate cells that keep arteries smooth and flexible. This is how aging accelerates at the molecular level. The most dangerous part is that sugar does not cause immediate pain. There is no warning signal, no discomfort, no sensation to tell you that harm is being done. Damage accumulates quietly, cell by cell, year after year. I watch patients reduce fat, count calories, even exercise regularly, yet their condition worsened because sugar remained untouched. Soft drinks, sweetened coffee, packaged foods disguised as healthy. The longest-lived patients I knew did not eliminate sweetness. They removed added sugar. Fruit remained. Natural foods remained. What disappeared were syrups, powders, and hidden sweeteners. Sugar does not just add weight, it subtracts years, and unlike time, it can be controlled if you decide to notice it. Habit. 5. Alcohol lies to you. For most of my career, I believed what medicine once taught. A little alcohol might be harmless, even beneficial. Then the evidence changed, and more importantly, the patients did. I watched people who drank moderately arrive with weakened hearts, elevated blood pressure, fragile livers, and inflamed blood vessels. They were never extreme drinkers. They were social drinkers, celebratory drinkers, end-of-the-day drinkers. Alcohol does not announce its damage. It relaxes you first. It lowers your defenses. It convinces you that it is helping, while quietly increasing heart rate, disrupting sleep, thickening blood, and impairing the body's ability to repair itself. One glass becomes two. Two becomes a habit. A habit becomes invisible. The heart does not process alcohol as pleasure. It processes it as stress. Every time you drink, the heart must work harder to maintain balance while the liver struggles to neutralize a toxin. What troubled me most was not the heavy drinkers. It was the ones who believed they were safe. The healthiest, long-lived patients I treated did not avoid joy. They avoided dependence. Alcohol was rare, not routine. Optional, not automatic. The safest amount is not what culture suggests. It is less than your mind expects. Because alcohol does not shorten life dramatically. It shortens it quietly, one relaxed evening at a time. Habit number 6. Loneliness is a medical condition. Some of the sickest patients I ever treated did not lack medication. They lacked people. No one to eat with. No one to speak to honestly. No one to notice when they stopped showing up. At first, I believed loneliness was emotional. Then I watched it become physiological. Isolated patients healed slower. Their immune systems weakened. Their inflammation levels stayed elevated. Their hearts aged faster than their bodies. Loneliness does not feel dangerous, but it alters the chemistry of the blood. The body interprets isolation as a threat. Stress hormones rise, sleep becomes shallow, blood pressure remains elevated even at rest. Over time, this constant alert state damages the cardiovascular system more quietly than most diseases. I saw patients with perfect lab results decline simply because they had no reason to maintain themselves. No shared meals, no conversations, no future plans that required staying alive. The longest-lived patients always had something in common. Not wealth, not genetics, not even diet. They had connections, someone to walk with, someone to listen to, someone who would notice if they disappeared. Human beings are not designed to survive alone. The heart depends on more than blood flow. It depends on belonging. Medicine can treat organs, but only people can treat meaning. And without meaning, the body slowly stops trying. Habit. 7. People who live long expect to wake up tomorrow. This was the habit no medical textbook ever mentioned. Yet after decades of watching who survived and who faded, I could not ignore it. The patients who aged well did not speak often about death. They spoke about next week. They had plans that required a body, a garden to tend, a project unfinished, a person expecting them. Their minds were pointed forward, not backward. I treated patients with identical diagnoses and identical treatments, and their outcomes were completely different. The ones who believed their story was still continuing healed faster, tolerated pain better, and recovered more fully. The ones who quietly accepted decline deteriorated even under perfect care. The body responds to expectation. When the mind anticipates tomorrow, the nervous system stays engaged. Repair mechanisms remain active. hormones stabilize, immune responses improve. This is not optimism, it is biology. I saw patients who lost purpose after retirement decline rapidly, despite having time and resources, and I saw others with little comfort remain strong simply because someone needed them. Long life is not sustained by avoiding death. It is sustained by having somewhere to go. You do not need a grand mission. You need a reason to wake up that is larger than comfort. Because the body does not fight for survival on its own. It fights for continuation, and continuation begins in the mind. I am not alive because I was lucky. I am alive because I watched thousands die and learned from every one of them. You do not need better genes. You need better habits. You still have time, but time is the one thing my patients never got back. Choose wisely.